Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We now know the names of the two people who were found hiding in an abandoned farmhouse in Wheatland, North Dakota this morning after a theft case out of Jamestown. Police arrested 22-year-old Dijon Johnson and 21-year-old Tiffany Simmons. Both were arrested for burglary and criminal mischief. People living in the surrounding area were advised to stay behind locked doors while officers search for the two. Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz was at the scene where Simmons and Johnson were found.
Obviously, they had fled from police, so we knew there was something more going on there.
A shelter-in-place alert issued early Thursday morning surrounding Wheatland, North Dakota.
We didn't initially know who we were dealing with and what their backgrounds were.
Cass County Sheriff Jesse Johnner says his office came into play once a high-speed chase from a Walmart burglary all the way in Jamestown brought the suspects his way.
At some point, that vehicle was lost.
Officials finding the car stuck in a snowbank south of the Absaraka interchange, then saying they tracked footprints around the area. The Cass County Sheriff tells us the two suspects were found in this abandoned house here in the surrounding rural area of Wheatland, North Dakota.
We had several leads and, people are seeing different things out here, vehicles that were in the area and stuff like that.
One tip came from a neighbor who asked to keep his home off camera for fear of retaliation. The neighbor tells us he was frightened as he saw what he thinks was a possible suspect walking along here and using his cell phone as a flashlight. The neighbor says he called 911 and notified officials. The suspects charged with burglary and criminal mischief are 22-year-old Dijon Johnson and 21-year-old Tiffany Simmons. Upon further investigation, the sheriff's office says no weapons were found on them. Officials say there should be no danger to the public and folks can roam about freely. In rural Wheatland, North Dakota, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
Authorities say the code red was put into place for a couple of reasons, so that people would know why there were so many squad cars in the area and because officials didn't initially know who they were dealing with and what their backgrounds were. They determined later that the suspects were not armed. More than 80 hours after 4 bodies were found at RJR Maintenance and Management Monday morning, people living in Mandan say they're still in shock that this happened in their city and feel badly for the victims' families.
I'm just in awe. I can't imagine what the families would experience. What would I do? I mean, what can we do?
The Mandan police chief has stated multiple times that the community is safe, not in danger, because this was a targeted attack. Meanwhile, a combined memorial service will be held for those 4 people killed in Mandan. Services for Robert Faulkner, William and Lois Cobb, and Adam Fuhrer will be held at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, April 9th at Bismarck Community Church. The victims have been identified as the owner of RJR Maintenance and 3 other employees. Authorities are not saying yet how the victims died. The Red River in Fargo and up and down the valley keeps rising. This is 3rd Street North in Moorhead. The city has closed that section of the road. You can see how high the water is compared to the stop sign. It's just one part of the metro that's closed or blocked off because of the rising floodwaters. Hutch, we know there's a warm-up heading our way, but before we get to that, any concerns for this evening?
Well, we do have a few areas, primarily along the international border, that are seeing some very light showers, and some of it in the form of snowflakes. Under a half-inch, a trace to a half-inch is expected as this continues to zip off to the east. All of us seeing cloudy skies, but I want to point this out, Andrea. It's hot diggity out there to the west, near 70 in Williston. So once that snow is off the ground, temperatures really have an opportunity to warm up. Now, here's a look at that Maple River at Mapleton that spiked up, coming down just a little bit in the last couple of hours, but expected to rise and crest upwards of 22.5 feet. Now, here's the red in Fargo, and we'll really see it rising into the weekend, as we'll expect a crest somewhere close to 33 to 35 feet is what Hutch is thinking. Temperatures this evening, pretty steady, but it's going to stay windy and it's going to stay cloudy. In Grand Forks, we'll dip into the mid-30s with gusts over 30 miles per hour into the evening hours. I'll have details on that warm-up and let you know what you can expect as far as some rain and maybe thunder for the weekend. Details in a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Hutch. Mandan police have another investigation on their hands. This time it involves gunshots fired into a home. Police say shortly after midnight today, an officer heard several gunshots and then saw a vehicle leave the area. After some investigation, the officer found a bullet hole in the front door of a home in the 1000 block of 4th Street Southwest. There were no signs of injuries and no suspects were located. Police say this case does not appear to be related in any way to Monday's homicide. A man is now in jail for terrorizing and felonious restraint after an incident early this morning at a Valley City business. Police say they were called to the 100 block of Main Street East for what they're calling an imminent safety issue. When they arrived, one person was running from the building and was taken into protective custody. Another worker was found safe at a different location. Police set up a perimeter and later arrested 27-year-old Zachary Klein. Police say more charges are likely. President Trump has eased off his threat to shut down the southern border. He's giving Mexico 1 year to stop the flow of illegal drugs before imposing tariffs. This comes as House Democrats ramp up their investigations into the president, from the Mueller report to his tax returns. Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
President Trump threatened tariffs against Mexico 1 day before a visit to the southern border.
We need help from Mexico. If Mexico doesn't give the help, that's okay. We're going to tariff their cars coming into the United States.
At a White House meeting on community investment, the president did not discuss reports in the New York Times and Washington Post that some members of special counsel Robert Mueller's team believe Attorney General William Barr mischaracterized their findings. President Trump's team says it's time to move on and says it's time to end the attacks on the president.
They've wasted 2 years of their life and they need to find a way to validate it.
Democrats argue that releasing the report would stop the speculation.
The Mueller report should be disclosed in its fullness. All of it. That's it. Full stop.
The House Judiciary Committee voted Wednesday to give its chairman, Jerry Nadler, subpoena authority on the Mueller report. That same day, House Ways and Means Chairman Richard Neal sent a request to the IRS for the president's tax returns.
What will they find in these tax returns that Mueller could not find?
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defended her caucus.
I salute my chairman. They've been very thoughtful. They're evidence-based in what they are doing.
Attorney General William Barr is expected to answer questions on the Mueller report in public hearings on Capitol Hill next week. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The Department of Justice released a statement earlier today saying that Attorney General Barr and the special counsel continue to work together on appropriate redactions to that Mueller report so it can be released. The North Dakota Senate has passed a bill to seal the court records of convicted drunken drivers if they aren't charged with another DUI or any other crime for 7 years. Officials say it's meant to give those who stay out of trouble better odds of finding a job, but it excludes licensed commercial drivers. The bill will now go to the governor's desk. Hundreds of citations and dozens of arrests during the month of March in North Dakota. Law enforcement officials are sifting through the numbers following the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. Of the total citations, 88 were alcohol-related and 57 were driving under the influence arrests. There were another 31 arrests or citations for other alcohol-related violations, such as minor in consumption or open container, along with 6 drug-related arrests. Officials say impaired driving is 100% preventable and that stopping it can prevent tragedies on North Dakota's roads. You'll start seeing more spring fashions in stores as we start to see warmer weather. West Acres Mall is showing some 2019 trends, including citrus colors, floral prints, and graphic tees. And since we're still transitioning from one season to the next, many of these trends can be versatile.
Whether it's, a printed piece or you need a jumpsuit to add to your wardrobe, it's just all about finding pieces that you already have and just incorporating some of those trends to make a really fun wardrobe for spring.
Animal prints and simple accessories are also some fashion trends you'll see this season.